We're back for the fourth match with Dmitriy Butakov's Mono Black Vampires from Players Tour Nagoya. This hand's pretty good. 1 drop into 2 drop into a kill spell. Seems pretty legit. Some reason I have Cody Rhodes' song from good old AEW stuck in my head. Attack with Knight of the Ebon Legion here. No double blocks here. We're just trying to keep our life total high. Sure. Feels a little loose to do this, but given they're stuck on lands, probably something we're interested in doing. Thirdborn gains us the same amount of life as that, and allows you to use Champion of Dusk to leverage an advantage here. Card's so much better in Pioneer than it is in Modern. Okay, so pretty sure you're dead here, friendo. I'm gonna double wild slash this. Sure. Draw 3. And it doesn't prompt concession. Interesting. Let's say I respect my opponent's cojones for sticking out that long. The third copy of Kalias. Yeah, it doesn't actually kill a lot of things in the mono red deck, does it? Probably interested in Grasp of Darkness and Direct to the Underworld. That and just get rid of 4 Thoughtseizes. Obviously seem a bit dubious against a deck almost entirely based around dealing you damage. Like, what other cards could we realistically bring in? Liliana, maybe? Depends on what their creature base is. Like, this is one of those matchups where I think your just objective is just to stay alive. Like I said, we don't know how high our opponent goes up on the curb. The fact that they're playing Zergo kind of leads me to believe that they're a lower to the ground mono red deck. And unlike mono black aggro, which struggles against something like good old Goblin Chain Whirler, our deck doesn't particularly care about it outside of Dust Legion Zealot. So this hand seems pretty good. Got Fatal Push and the stuff. Murderous Rider is a pretty solid card in this matchup. Alright, Epic Downfall is not terrible. Only issue with Epic Downfall specifically is the fact that it's... I think we definitely push this off a cliff. That way they don't get an easy trigger from at the stage. So I guess we run Night Out. If they want to waste a burn spell on that, I think I'm perfectly happy with that outcome. Rabble, rabble. Get to hold a Fatal Push here, which is nice. Not guaranteeing that Fatal Push will get to kill anything, but it's a reasonable card. Frenzy is a scary card. Might be a reason to bring in Thoughtseize back on the play. Wow. Yep. And we're just too far behind this game. So, does Frenzy really change the way we approach this game? Thoughtseize is still very actively a bad card in this matchup. Maybe trim these for some drill bits. So I'd love to play the path. Hand seems decent. Keep. Hopefully. Pass turn. Hopefully our opponent just plays something completely pointless here. Unfortunately, a breed is not completely pointless. Well, let's hope we don't have ways to answer this. Yeah. Last card in hand doesn't matter. Epic Downfall, looking very awkward. Crusher Giant, slightly annoying. Okay. Alright, well, start by doing this. Just no frenzy, please. Alright. Woo! We are back for the final match in this league. This hand is amazing. Actually, it's kind of... This hand is kind of medium with these Champion of Dusks, but Path into Gifted Aetherborn's pretty good against a lot of decks, so... Okay, so... not the best hand against ramp, which is most likely what we're up against. Okay, no, we are up against... I have no... Guess we are up against Lotus Field combo. Don't exactly have the most aggressive hand in this situation. Okay, get to get Lotus Field here. Oh, they already have Lotus Field. Okay. Cool. Interesting. So at least we seem to have quite a bit for this in the post Lotus Field. Yes. Salam and good welcome. Am I dead? Am I dead? Okay. Sure. Yep. Nickelodeon. Okay. It's likely deterministic here, but I'm going to go through the motions here. I'm also curious what their legit win con is. Expansion Explosion is interesting. Okay. Sure. And the game is over. So we want Lost Legacies, which granted aren't the best cards in the world, but they're not the worst. Get Rankle in here and get some drill bits in here. Fatal Pushes aren't great. Grasp of Darknesses aren't great. It's possible we're supposed to leave like more copies of Murderous Rider in our deck, but so this looks to be similar to what our opponent's running. It's quite an interesting build. One of the downsides of, all these mid-range decks is you just are a little vulnerable to combo. Is this hand good enough? I suppose. We don't have too many aggressive one-drops. So, hand's fine. Not fantastic. It's fine. Temple of Mystery. Arboreal Grazer, sure. So what are the chances our opponent can combo on 3? I don't think great, so I'm not going to respect that ability, but could die here. Drill Bit seems like a nice one to have next turn. Gonna be really annoying if they combo on turn 3. Okay. Yep. So I was kind of hoping to save this for a rainy day, but I think we have to do pour over the pages, pour over the pages. That's a hand. Have to take Underworld Breach and hope. Just get to see a lot of cards. Someone's crying for what? Sheltered Thicket. That's 1 cycles, okay. Oh boy. Yep, there's a dig through time. Well, that was fun. So, back in 1 second with the wrap-up. So we are back for the wrap-up with Dmitry Butakov's Mono Black Vampires from Pioneer. Thoughts on the deck? It does seem like the deck is a little bit on the more mid-range side of aggro, which, to be expected. You're not playing many 1-drops. Your 2-drops aren't all that aggressive. We did have at least one turn 5 kill, but you're really reliant on cards like Thoughtseize and Drill Bit or Duress, Lost Legacy to kind of slow down combo decks. And a lot of times I think the sideboard is just a matter of what decks are you hoping to line up against. Like if our sideboard had been a bunch of Noxious Grasps or, more Murderous Riders, more copies of that kind of stuff, I think we would have done pretty decently against Mono Green. Great Henge was obviously their trump card in that matchup. Then on the bookend, the Underworld Breach Lotus Field combo deck just feels like that deck feels like it's extremely resilient to certain things. And I mean, we discard Spell them and see a hand of Underworld Breach, pour over the pages, dig through time. So the opponent is seeing 6, 7, 14 cards, even though we took their combo piece. Just really kind of hard to, keep up with that kind of velocity. Even with the velocity of our own deck, we just don't have the aggression and the disruption necessary to beat that kind of deck. And I really do think it's starting to get to the point where people have found ways to start breaking Dig Through Time. And whether it be the Inverter combo deck or whether it be Lotus Field combo, I do think Dig Through Time's days are numbered in the format. So it was kind of the thing everybody was worried about, but it's definitely getting to the point where Dig might just be too good once people figure out how to fill their graveyard with efficient spells and such. Whether Inverter combo needs banned, whether part of the Lotus Field needs banned outside Dig Through Time, it's really kind of hard to say. But I definitely think Dig Through Time is a card whose days in the format are kind of numbered. As for this deck, one possible solution, or a couple possible solutions, is much more like the historic deck that I used to play on my old Standard Nexus MTG channel, and I'll probably be busting out at some point on this channel. You could splash white for a little bit more aggression, gives you access to things like Sky Marcher Legionnaire, Dante Vanguard, the Lord that pumps up the jam. You're a little less controlling, but you are a little bit more aggressive. It allows you to close out the game faster, potentially have turn 4 kills, which can be a huge boon in matchups where your opponent's trying to combo. Another direction is you could do a slight blue splash for things like Mystical Dispute or Negate, Disdainful Stroke, maybe those kind of cards, and maybe try to rely on counter spells to help slow down some of these other matchups. And then beyond that, I think black in and of itself has a lot of the answers to a lot of the creature and mid-range decks, and I really don't know how this deck does pound for pound against something like Niv, so be something interesting to look at, but I do think this deck is kind of caught in the middle ground of being a mid-range deck and might need a little bit more aggression if the format continues to move towards Inverter combo and Lotus Breach combo, and then Niv Mizzet obviously being kind of a mid-range trump deck, so to speak. So I think deck is solid, it's reasonable, but I think 3-2 is probably a good record for it overall. I think it's a solid mid-range deck, but you're being out-trumped in a lot of different fields, and kind of need to figure out a way to kind of break that parity right now. So this is a deck you'd be interested in us visiting again. Feel free to send off in the comments. This has been John for MTG Nexus.